Hey everyone, of course, you all know about the success Nvidia is having in the AI market, but could AMD catch up to Nvidia and could AMD become the next Nvidia to thrive and prosper and experience a stock price appreciation similar to that of Nvidia? Well, one of the ways AMD can do that is with a GPU that can compare with NVIDIA's for artificial intelligence. So I'll elaborate on that here in this video. So let's take a look at the details.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So AMD launched its rival, the MI300, to NVIDIA's a couple of quarters ago, and AMD is giving us an update on how the progress is in the marketplace for AMD's GPUs. AMD saying that the MI300 became the fastest ramping product in AMD history, passing $1 billion in total sales in less than 2 quarters. In the cloud, the MI300 production deployments expanded at Microsoft, Meta Platforms, Oracle to power generative AI training and inferencing for both internal workloads and a broad set of public offerings. So you're already starting to see the beginnings of AMD experiencing a surge in revenue as a result of demand for its AI GPU. That's a great start, but it's not yet there. So there's more to know. Let's take a closer look. So AMD saying that several of our partners are seeing significant increases in tokens per second when running their flagship large language models on MI300X compared to H100, and the H100 is Nvidia's chip. So what AMD is saying here is what they're hearing from their partners is that the AMD chip is more efficient to run compared to the Nvidia chip, at least for inferencing. So when you're thinking about artificial intelligence, there's two main areas to think about: training the model and inferencing or running the model. So those two, in general terms, to simplify it, you could think of creating the model and then operating the model. And what AMD is saying is not that it's cheaper to train the model with AMD's chip, but it's cheaper to operate the model with AMD's chip. That's what AMD is saying here. Several of our partners are seeing significant increases in tokens per second when running their large language models on the MI300X. And keep in mind, it's much more expensive to develop a large language model than it is to operate a large language model. So AMD is seeing a competitive advantage in the lesser important part of the AI market, the running of the large language model. Regardless, that's still an important milestone, and this is coming from AMD reporting on this. I haven't seen confirmation from other companies to verify this report, but if it is true, that's a really big deal. That means many companies are going to use NVIDIA's H100 to develop large language models. And then once they're developed to operate them, they're going to want to run them on AMD's chips because it's more efficient to operate. Every time you search for something on a large language model, that takes computing power. And that computing power costs the company that's providing you that large language model, that costs them money. And so if they can deliver that answer to you that you're looking for at a lower cost, that's beneficial for them. So they're going to look to do that. AMD can provide that better operating price to those companies. So really interesting there. And if it's true, if I see this from more companies reporting this, that's going to be a really big competitive advantage for AMD in that one area at least, right? You're not going to beat NVIDIA overall, but if you can find a category that you can outperform NVIDIA, then you can carve out a piece of this market that's absolutely massive. It's an absolutely massive market opportunity. If AMD can carve out this segment, that's going to be big for AMD and AMD stock investors. So far, based on their expanding customer engagements, They now expect data center GPU revenue to exceed $4 billion in 2024. That's up from $3.5 billion that they thought in January. So just in the last 3 or 4 months or so, the conversations that they're having with their customers has led AMD to boost their forecast for revenue in GPUs for 2024 by 500 million. 500 million more revenue expected now than it was expected just 4 months ago. That's great news for Nvidia. It shows they're gaining traction faster than they initially expected to. Their client segment revenue was $1.4 billion, which was an increase of 85% year over year, driven by strong demand for their latest generation Ryzen mobile and desktop processors with OEMs and in the channel. And there's strong demand for their latest generation Ryzen processors in the first quarter. So again, more evidence from AMD that their innovation hitting the marketplace and experiencing strong demand. They're behind Nvidia still, right? Nvidia is long benefiting from the rising effectiveness of artificial intelligence. They've been, several quarters in a row now, Nvidia is demonstrating absolute surging revenue growth, profit growth, and cash flow growth. AMD is just now catching up, and while these two segments are performing extremely well for AMD, the overall business still not performing all that well because AMD still has parts of its business that's declining. Notably, the gaming segment is in decline as the console, those latest generation consoles are now in their 5th, 6th year now, and that's hurting AMD. So parts of its business are still not thriving, whereas Nvidia, all of its business is thriving. It's like firing on all cylinders. And so to answer that question, I posed in the headline, could AMD be the next Nvidia? Maybe. There is a chance. There is a non-zero chance that it can be. Certainly in one sliver of the artificial intelligence market, it's demonstrating that it is up there with Nvidia, perhaps, right? Competing with the inference market, providing a solution that's lower cost to serve than Nvidia. So while it can approach Nvidia, it can sort of mimic the success of Nvidia, I don't think, I don't think it will copy or exceed Nvidia's performance in any time, at least not in 2024, probably not in 2025 either. So Nvidia still the clear leader in this category. Still the clear leader. I mean, I've done several videos comparing Nvidia to AMD, and my conclusion in all of them nearly has been, if you're an investor and you're trying to choose between the two, Nvidia is the better choice. The valuation is actually comparable to Nvidia. You're paying a similar price to the stock, but you're getting better performance with Nvidia. Still, it's nice to see AMD catching up, demonstrating that it's providing the marketplace with a viable competitor to Nvidia. So at least companies have a choice. They don't have to only go with Nvidia, and there's actually more supply in the market that desperately needs more computing power. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.